I'm repeating a TheraBand class, but hopefully doing all different exercises today. You need a reasonable length of band. If it's shorter than this, and I'm sort of, that's up there, so it's about 6 foot, I guess. You might struggle with some of the exercises. So, and I've got a sort of medium strength, but see how you go. Okay, so let's start by standing on the band with your feet hip width apart. Make sure the band is really nice and flat, and just, so the positioning is all important, just make sure you've got your feet in the middle, and then it's nice and flat between your feet, and not rucked up, and you've got the whole of your foot on the band. So I've just got the top of my big toe, the very top of my big toe just poking out a little bit. And then I'm going to bend my knees and take hold of the band, don't wrap it round or anything, just bending the knees, taking hold of it there, and straightening your legs until you feel that there's quite a lot of tension. Now, this is the beauty of working with the band. So this amount of tension is making me want to be like that. And I'm going to try and lift and lengthen my spine all the way up to the ceiling. I'm just going to lift this monitor up a little bit. I feel like I'm got top of my head chopped off slightly. Okay, so we're there. And let's from there, so resist that temptation to collapse down, really standing up as tall as you possibly can. And if it's too tight, if it's really quite a little bit uncomfortable, just release the band a bit. So I'm just holding the band over my fingers and my thumb is just securing it a little bit. And then we're going to take some lovely shoulder shrugs. So all the way up towards your ears with your shoulders, and then allow that tension in the band to let the arms come down, the shoulders come down. So breath in, maybe breath out. Not really worrying too much about the breathing, just try not to hold the breath. Try and stand as tall as possible. Think about where your weight is on your feet. So watch that you've got an equal weight between the big toe joint, the little toe joint and the heel. And all the way through I'm trying to lengthen through the crown of my head and send my tailbone down in the opposite direction. And then I'm just going to take those shoulders, allow them to round really forwards and then pin them back. There's quite a lot of tension on the band. Rounding all the way forwards, pinning them back. Nothing else is changing. And then let's take some big shoulder rolls. You might feel that it would be a little bit more comfortable if you released the tension on the band. That's absolutely fine. So go with it, listen to your body. If you really can't straighten out your arm or lift your arm when you're holding onto the band, you've just got way too much tension, so just ease it off a little bit. If something is aggravating an injury, some of the shoulder work might be a little bit sore initially, try and work through it, but you can always do the movements without the band as well. So this is going to be all really nice and warm around the back of my neck and upper shoulders. So I'm just going to let those arms be drawn down by the band. I'm going to try and stand up as tall as possible. I'm closing my eyes and I'm going to turn my head from side to side. I'm lightly touching my legs with my hands, making sure that I'm noticing that my hands don't move because I don't want my shoulders to move. Facing forwards, ear towards shoulder. Again, this is where it's tempting to, I'm exaggerating it hugely of course, but just try and keep those arms absolutely still. And I'm going to finish off with a half circle down towards the floor. It's really anything that you feel like doing here. Up towards the ceiling without letting that head drop back. You'll know if you've gone too far. Your face will scrunch up, it won't feel nice. And then just letting that head drop, so the first part of our roll down, which we're going to do later with the band, really letting it relax. It's gone as far as it can, possibly, without my shoulders joining in. and then I'm just going to rotate my chin from side to side. I'm sort of looking from one side of my one foot to the other, if you like. My chin is drawing a straight line that's in line with the top end of my mat. The mat feels nice. Great. Let's release that tension on the band. Good. Taking the band away from underneath your feet, fold it over in half, and we're going to look at creating, so just having this stress in the band, the double stress. So when we had a single band, you can stretch it out quite a bit. This is going to be slightly different. So let's start here. Let's start with just the band draped over your thumbs, and the band opposite your chest, and just all I'm really doing to secure it is putting my thumb against my forefinger. And my elbows are up, shoulders are down, I'm standing up really nice and tall, feet are just outside hip width apart, and I'm pulling the ends of the band in opposite directions. And I'm aiming to focus around here, around the shoulder blades, around the muscles in my back, and actually I can see those muscles drawing in a little bit in the mirror, and I can also see these the muscles at the back of my neck drawing down. So I'm really activating around here. That's where I want you to try and feel it. Let's take the arms down, so pretty much keep your hands in the same place. Take the band across your thighs. In fact, I need to take my hands a slightly bit wider. I'm creating more of a fist, but a loose fist here. With the band across my thighs, I'm going to keep my arms nice and straight, and I'm going to pull back. If I let go of the band, imagine I'm holding onto the band. I'm trying to do that movement. Moving from the shoulder, using the backs of the arms. I'm not going to go anywhere near that far because I'm holding onto the band, and it's really strong. But what I would like you to notice here is that in order to do that, you really have to brace in your core. So it switches everything on, which is nice. So we're just taking the little finger side of your fist back to the wall behind you without any change anywhere else, other than noticing that this, your capital X, if you like, is switching on. And again, I can feel the muscles around my shoulder blades activating in my back, keeping my collarbone nice and open, and I can feel my triceps working. Another bonus. Good, so let's do the same thing. So that was the same that we did here, but just in a different direction. Now let's try and take the band up, not too high, keep the shoulders relaxed, elbows are soft. Again, I'm slightly in front of my eye line, so that what I mean by that is the band isn't completely above my head. I'm slightly there so that I can just look up and I can see the band, and I'm trying to stretch the band, again, the ends in opposite directions. Focusing on, I can feel backs of the arms, triceps, the muscles around the shoulder blades activating. So important for our upper body posture, that thoracic spine. Great. Okay, so that's a little bit of strengthening stuff. Let's take the band. I call this up and over. It's a big shoulder mobilising. Take it easy to start with. Have a little look. So we're going to unravel the band so we've got a single band, and this again was where you need a decent length of band. I've taken my feet wider, my insteps are still parallel. You go from this sort of what I call a swags and tail type of position where there's quite a lot of slack in the middle, and we'll all be holding it in slightly different places, but the test is you want to stretch the band out, get it straight with a little bit of tension, and be able to just relax your arms down behind your back. And then you're going to bring them back up the same way. My elbows are slightly soft, and then bring the band back down to the front. So we're lifting up, stretching out. If you've got your hands too close together, your head's going to get in the way, messes your hair up and everything. If you've got the band, if your hands are too far apart, you're going to do that. So it's finding the right position. thirds roughly works, I think. Well, that sort of even loop in the middle. So you're here, you want a little bit of stretching out, a little bit of tension across the front of the chest and the shoulders. Relax them when you're down here, just relax your arms, and then come back up the other way. If you can see yourself in the mirror, you're looking for none of this going on, one arm and then the other. No, and even with my not so great right shoulder, I'm being really careful to make it even. So let's just do a couple more of those, up and over. You could, if this is way too much, just practice here and there. Just stretching out, bending the elbows, and coming up and over. Do what you can. So ideally, we've got a pretty much straight arm. It's a really nice stretch across the front of your chest, and then you're bringing it back up and over. I'm going to add on to this a big roll down, and then we're also going to add the breathing. Just watch me a moment. So we go, breath out to go up and over. We hold it here and we take a big breath in. Then we take a breath out to come up and over. Then we take a roll down, but a sort of caving in roll down while you're breathing in. It's slightly weird. You bend your knees, everything comes into your centre. You roll all the way down to the floor, hang from your waist, head is relaxed, arms are relaxed. When you take your breath out, you straighten your legs, stretching your hamstrings, and then you bend your knees and breathe in as you roll up, as we normally would do, so that you can start again. Got all that? Off you go. Okay, it's a terror on the hair, this one. So, I'm going to come forwards. In fact, I'm going to go sideways on so that you can see the movement. So we want a breath in to prepare. We're going to do 4 sets all together. Big breath in to prepare. Breath out to go up and over. Hold it here, relax. Don't do anything with those arms. Breath in. I want you to feel your rib cage expanding sideways. Breath out to go up and over. Arms are above the head. Implode everything as you breathe in. It's slightly odd. Breath out, straighten your legs. Breath in, bend your knees, roll up through the spine, strongly push that pubic bone forwards, unravelling. As you get to the top, you're all ready for your breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Flow with it a little bit. Breath out, straighten those legs. Breath in, bend the knees, rolling all the way up. I think we've got 2 more. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out, straighten the legs, bend the knees. Breath in, rolling up. Last one, breath out. Hold it here, breath in. Breath out, up and over. Breath in, round the spine. Breath out, straighten the legs. Breath in, rolling up all the way. Great. Hopefully those shoulders feel nice and mobilised so that we can continue this same sort of theme. Keep your hands in the same place. Let's take a round the world movement. So keeping the band stretched out. I'm going 4 times in the same direction, and then I'm going to change sides. So one arm is going up, round the back, sort of like you're doing a lasso. Again, feels quite nice. Let those arms be quite relaxed. Let your rib cage join in. Let's do a couple more. 2 more sets in each direction, 4 in each direction. Now I'm just allowing my upper back to join in even more, and then going the other way. Rolling around. Excellent. Last exercise here. Band in the same position. Maybe bring your hands a tiny bit closer together with the band sort of behind your head. Just take pulses out. So I'm stretching the band out. I'm thinking about working the muscles, same muscle group. This is all about building the stamina in the muscles around the shoulder blades to keep them flat against the rib cage wall. Hopefully no tension in the neck, although I can feel that that's getting a little bit warm. Brilliant. And release and relax. Fantastic. Good job. Okay, we are going to keep this single width of band. And I'm going to stay with thirds roughly. So now I've got a straight line at the top and an equal amount hanging down either side. I'll show you that there. And let's just reach up to start with. So let the band go slack. Reach up, try and touch the ceiling with your fingertips. Lifting the ribcage off of the hips. Brilliant. The thumbs are still what's holding the band in place. And now I'm going to gently go from side to side. And I'm really aiming to keep my head and my arms in the same relationship, the same shape with each other. Good. I'm going to hold it over to one side. I'm going to keep this top arm really reaching up towards the ceiling, and I'm going to pull down a little bit more with that underneath arm, and then coming up to the top. Reaching up, really thinking about this hand being as high up as it possibly can be, and stretching down with that other one, using the tension in the band. Let's do 4 more of those. Over to the side, keep the top hand still. That's your brace, if you like. Over to the side. That's the point from which we're stretching and adding the resistance. Reaching down, making sure you're really sideways on. So no letting that underneath shoulder roll back, drawing that underneath arm down and up to the top, and relax those arms down. Great. Let's take some static lunges. So again, find the middle place for the band. I don't know if that helps actually. No, I'm going to go that way, I think. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go along the length of my yoga mat. Find the middle place for the band. Make sure it's nice and flat. Putting one foot in the middle, making sure that you've got your whole foot in it. So my top of my big toe is just about to poke out, but otherwise the rest of my foot's in the band. I know I'm in the middle, both ends are even at the top. I'm going to set my other leg really far back, so the band is wrapped around the front leg. Initially, once you've set your position up, so testing for a static lunge, if you wanted to kneel down on that back knee, and you've got, and forget about the band for the moment, just let it go slack. Just keep it underneath your foot. So kneeling down, checking that you've got your 2 90-degree angles. The toes are curled under on the back leg, and then we're just coming up to straight. I don't want any tension in the band at all at the moment, so just hold on to the top of it. In fact, put your thumbs on the top, like that. So thumbs are lifted up, the band is coming out through past your little finger last, and you're there. And then just let the arms relax down by your side. Hips and shoulders square to your front. We're just going to take some static lunges. So if you can't get that back knee to brush down on the floor, if that's too much of a bend, really doesn't matter. Just bend equally, both knees equally. So if you're only going to this far, it's absolutely fine. Keep the spine upright, keep the chest upright. If you can, all the way down to the floor with that back knee, fully straightening the legs when you get to the top. Let's do a couple more. Strong work on the legs. Holding it here, both legs straight. So this is tough in itself, just holding this straight leg position. My back heel is quite far up. I'm going to let that relax a little bit actually. And then I'm just going to bring my arms forwards, my thumbs are up, and this will partly depend on the length of the band. If you've got a much longer band than I've got, and your arms are sort of up here, then that's not going to work. So hold the band a little bit lower. All I want you to do from here is take the slack out of the band, keep those thumbs on top, and just add a little forward arm raise. My arms are going out into a narrow V, so they're not all the way out to the side, otherwise I hit the wall. In fact, my hands are as wide as the top of my mat. So just slightly outside my shoulder position, I guess. So forward raises. Brilliant. We're going to add on to this, obviously. We're going to add a knee fold, keeping the arms where they are, holding onto the band where it is. We're adding this knee fold to here. This is the advanced version. There is another version I'll show you in a moment. Knee fold all the way back. We're going to keep doing that on the same leg. It's going to be really tough on this standing leg. If you can, add to that, as you take your knee fold, take that forward arm raise and going back. So that's the most super advanced version. You could maybe take out the arms if that was too much. If that's too much for you and you want to stick with the static lunges, take hold of the band closer by your knees and just take your static lunges, but make sure that when you're straightening your legs, you've got this lovely tension in the band. I'm trying to bring my hands back towards my side seam of my top. So as I'm straightening the legs here, there's a lot of tension. But ideally, hopefully you're still going, but I suspect maybe not. Let's have another 10 of these, especially if you weren't doing them while I was showing the alternative. So 3, I'm driving through that standing leg. Your challenge when you get there is to try and strengthen that band. 5 more. Stretch that band, sorry. Strengthen, using the muscles in your back. Leg is very tired. 3, I think there's 2 more. Weirdly, I'm able to count today. It's quite unusual. Maybe it's just beginner's luck on this first side. I think that was it. Whew, okay, good job. Unravel. And let's go all onto the other side. So remember, setup is key. Have that whole band nice and flat. Have your whole foot in the band. I think you can hopefully see that there. Make sure you've got the middle of the band. Take your leg back. Set up for your static lunge position if you can. And again, just holding the ends of the band at the beginning. Just take the slack out of the band. There's no, we're not really worrying about that for the moment. Hips and shoulders square to your front. So I'm straightening both legs. And then bending, trying to brush that back knee down on the floor. Keeping the torso straight and upright. So no pitching forwards. Make sure you bend the back knee as much as you bend the front knee. Watch that this front knee doesn't come past your ankle, past your toes especially. Keep it above your ankle. It's really strong work. So, easy version, if you're doing the easy version. Actually, sorry, no, before we get to there, let's stay with 2 straight legs. Just going to relax that back here a little bit. This time I'm going to take my hands, I'm going to take the band between my thumb and my forefinger and make my hands nice and flat and bring them to my side seam of my top, and then I'm just pushing back the straight arm, so a bit like the fist we did earlier when we had double band and the band was across the thighs. Again, you have to switch on that core. It's hard work. Try not to let the shoulder tip round forwards. Really, Open up that shoulder, both shoulders even. Pin them back a little bit. Move from the back of your shoulder. Great, okay, you've probably guessed what's going to happen now. Probably, want to be more on the end of the band. We're going to take, this is the advanced version, knee fold, lunge back, that's what's going on with the legs. Continually knee fold and lunge back on that same leg. When you're in the knee fold, if you can, actually you need a reasonable amount of tension there, pushing those arms back. So I've had to go a little bit further down the band for this direction. So there, pushing those arms back. Knee, whoopsie, dropping down and pushing back. So challenging on the balance. I should be relaxing my arms when I'm concentrating on this part. I managed it that time. So keep going, a few more of those if you can. Remember, your alternative is just to take nice, strong, maybe pull the arms back a little bit more. Just stick with the static lunge as far as you can, but have loads more tension on that band. Let's finish off with our last set of 10. Here we go. 9, 8, pushing through, driving through that front heel. Hips and shoulders square to your front. I have to admit, I've lost count on this side. I reckon another 5. 4, relaxing those arms when you're down, Mandy. 3, 2, last one, 1, and release. Excellent. Okay, we have got some more strong leg work with the band. So we're going to, this is again really key, how you set up the band and how you get it moving. I'm going to move my screen down a little tiny bit again. Yeah. Okay, so nice and flat, roughly in the middle. Place it flat over the middle of your thighs. Cross it behind. Take the ends. So I've gone there, you can see that. So now I've got the ends. And then where this bit's nice and flat, but I've taken hold of the ends and they've got a bit more rolled up now. I'm going to have my legs quite close together actually. I want a reasonable amount of tension here. I'm going to knot, but just over twice, over once. Hold that knot there. Should look really pretty, like you're wrapping up a present. And then the second one, don't worry about doing the second one too tight. The band will tighten up anyway. So just take the second one in there and we're there. So I want you to be able to feel that resistance as you take the legs to the side. That's what we're going to work on here. If the band is all ravelled up and wrapped around your legs, or maybe if you've got bare legs, maybe not the exercise to do today. So I'm going to come to the one end of my mat and we're going to take a little mini squat, keeping the arms out in front, and we're just going to take 4 side steps in this squat, and I'm going to come back to here. When I get to the end, I'm going to take 4 squats. So 4 and up and 3, pushing the knees out over the toes, 2 and 1, back down into the squat, and we're stepping and closing, stepping and closing, but not closing completely together because that's going to take the tension off. Last one, and there. 4 squats, 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Let's do 2 more sets. Down you go to the side, close together, side. So making sure my knees are staying over my toes all the way and up. Sending that bottom back, keeping the chest up, hinging at the hips. 2 more. And belly button getting really hot. Stay down, last set back. 4, 3, 2, 1. Staying here for those last 4 of this variety. This time I'm going to stay down, actually not too low. I'm going to transfer all of my weight over to one side. I'm going to try and extend. I say try and extend. It's strong on the band. I can see my leg squidging over the top, which is nice. Holding onto my hands. I'm going to try and lift, and lift, and lift. And 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, another 5, I reckon, 4, 3, we're all metric in this class, 2, 1, come through the middle, swap sides, so keeping this leg still, hips absolutely still, the side leg doesn't lift very high, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A couple more if you didn't quite do your 15 with me. Back to there, hands straighten, and well done. Now here's the test of whether you've done it up way too tight. You should be able to quite easily release that first loop, release the second one, and then it'll unravel, and we're there. Good job. Okay. Let's take a roll down with the roller, with the band behind your back. And again, the length of the band will determine how successful this is going to be for you. I'm going to go really sideways, and I'm going to come back here a little bit more. So I've got the whole band stretched out, and I'm going to stand on the end of my band. Hopefully you can see it there, with my heels just right on the corner. In fact, I'm going to have half my foot on the band. So it's going to secure the band. And then I know that it was nice and flat when I started out. Hopefully it will still be flat. I need to turn around and have a little look at it. I'm going to stretch it up behind my back. And with me being sideways, hopefully you can see this. And then I've just got hold of the ends of the band, and I'm just going to lift it up a little bit more. Again, if you've got a really long band and there's loads of excess here at the top, just gather it up. Or you could have more at your feet, I guess, as well. You could have your whole foot on the band. But basically I want to lift it up a little bit and pull it forwards as if you're making like a little rain shelter. You hang on to the ends of the band like this, and your elbows are dropped down and forwards. Hopefully you can see, and I think you can with my clothing compared to the white wall behind me, that although I've got the band in 3 points of contact, my butt in between my shoulder blades, so my thoracic ribcage spine, and the back of my head. And then if my hair was out the way, hopefully you would see that there's a natural curve here. So the curve at the nape of the neck is there, and you can definitely see this one, the curve in the lumbar spine. That's absolutely fine. We want those curves to be in place. And all this is about is just about doing the roll down, but having this nice contact with your body, which highlights in your brain the movement that you're actually doing. So just watch me a moment. So what I'm going to try and do is keep the tension on the band there. As I tuck my chin in and start the roll down, I'm trying to push that curve in the nape of my neck into the band. So I'm trying to make contact. And I'm getting most of it in contact, not a little bit. I'm thinking of also lifting this top corner of the back of my head and neck up and away. Taking the chin onto the chest, I'm just letting my arms relax. Now I'm going on to the next stage of my roll down. And as I take this next part, I'm trying to push my lumbar curve into the band. And I've actually almost achieved it, not quite. Pelvis has stayed still, so I haven't stuck my bottom out, I haven't hinged at the hips. I'm taking the roll down. So the first 2/3 of your roll down is here. This is where you are here. I can't go any further. So for the last part, I'm just going to bend my knees and let my spine relax down, keeping the roller, why do I keep calling the roller? Keeping the band in place. When I roll back up, I'm going to tuck my pelvis under. I'm going to try and get that contact into the band, all the way up. Middle back, upper back, nape of the neck, and then finally lift the head at the end. Let's try 2 of those together if you weren't already doing it. If you've done this with me before, you'll be fine to go on your own. So head goes up and over, just the head. Feel that nice contact with the band. I'm keeping my pelvis absolutely still. I'm keeping my hips over my insteps. My legs are staying straight. I'm rounding over in that upper body. I've pretty much got contact with the band all the way along my spine now. Can't go any further, so I'm just going to allow that pubic bone to slide back between my legs, let everything hang, be really relaxed, knees are soft, and then rolling back up. Get the pelvis over the insteps fairly quickly, and then focus on the last 2/3. That's where the magic happens. One more, last one. Chin onto your chest, but lift that back corner up at the same time. Feel that contact with the band. Feel that lovely warmth almost in your lower back. Feel how you're stretching out that curve. Soften the knees when you're ready. Unravel. Maybe just bend one leg at a time. Have a little wiggle there. We haven't really done any hamstring stretching today. And then rolling back up. Push that pubic bone forwards. Unraveling the spine all the way till you get to the top, and then the curves come back. That was a hot one. Brilliant. Okay, we are going to be down the floor for the next section. I'm going to move my monitor down. You might need to move your laptop. We're going to, when we resume, we're going to be sitting on the floor with your legs in front with the band around your feet. With me now on the floor. So we're going to take a seated row. I did this one last time. I really like this. Seated row, again looking at that upper back strengthening in what I call go-kart position. So you're seated right up on your sit bones, legs are bent, feet are flexed. The band is flat around the feet. I've got all of my toes and the sole of my foot in the band. I'm going to take hold of the band just by, again, wrapping it across my palms and placing my thumbs on top at my knees with a reasonable amount of tension. And then actually I'm going to straighten my legs away a little bit more. So sitting as upright as possible. This is a seated row. From here I'm just going to pin those elbows back and then release. The beauty of working with the band is that you are creating, you've got that double resistance. So you've got the resistance as you bring your elbows back, and then you've got the resistance as you release. And that's what's really key. That's why quite often these exercises feel really hard at the time and feel really strong. But actually, because you're working the muscles equally in both directions, you're rarely sore. But it's just really good for toning, really good for educating the muscles. Waking up the brain, waking up the central nervous system. This is good, as you know, just to be practicing sitting tall. There's a strange dog noise going on outside. Pinning the elbows back. Good, I'm going to hold those elbows back now. I'm going to try and sit nice and tall and just hold it here. Breathing, thinking about relaxing around the back of my head and neck, thinking about sitting right up on those sit bones. So the wrist is nice and flat, relaxed. Make sure that you never wrap the band around your wrist or around your hands. You'll end up cutting off the circulation. You really don't need anything more than just one finger or thumb just making that contact. And I'm starting to feel a little bit of fatigue now. Great, and then let that release. Brilliant. Let's come on to all fours. Sticking with the upper body, I've got some more work for the legs in a moment. I'm going to kneel. So we're going to be on all fours. I'm going to kneel on one side of the band. I'm going to have the band kneeling on, so I'm going to kneel on my, in fact I'll go this side first. I'm going to kneel on my left knee so it's closest to you, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to have the bands nicely stretched out. I'm just going to place my knee on that band, but I'm in the perfect square box position. The test for this is that I want you to be able to take hold of the band, and you're going to lift the arm up, taking the slack out of the band, but without making that shouldn't be too much like hard work. So you might want to have quite a lot of band there. If it's too short, again, and you can't straighten it out, it's not going to work. So nice and flat with that band. Perfect square box position. So the first thing I want to do, so just make sure the knee is right on the band on the same side of the arm that you're going to extend. Hands are underneath the shoulders, fingers and thumbs spread apart, back of the head and neck is lifted, I'm braced in my abdominal wall. I'm just going to release this elbow, release the pressure here, and just bring this arm up. I call this the sore paw position, and then replace it. Notice as you lift that up and replace that there's no change. You're going to feel a shift. You'll feel a slight shift in your weight because you've taken one of your points of contact away, one of your stabilising points. If you can see yourself in the mirror, there's no change in the shape of your spine. You're not leaning over, you're not adjusting. So take that elbow away, take that hand away, let it be nice and relaxed, and then reach forwards and just take hold of the band between your thumb and your forefinger. Now this is starting to this feels quite strong now. I'm having to really hang on in my centre to stay in the perfect position. I would like to lean over to one side, but I'm trying not to. I've just gone to the end of the band with this nice straight arm, and I'm just reaching it out. I'm not really stretching it, so it will depend where you've actually put the band. If you haven't got enough band, move it so that you've got enough to just take out the tension, take out the slack and have a little bit of tension, but nothing major. Holding that there, holding that there. Now let's release the opposite knee, extend that leg out behind you, and then lift the leg so it's at the height of the body, holding this. And then just lower the band, fingertips touching the floor, lift it back up. Let's lower the leg at the same time. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. In fact, let's keep that leg still at the back. Let's just lower and lift the arm. Couple more. And come on in. Who'd have thought that was that strong? But that is. Twiddle your fingers, twiddle your wrists, circle them around, get some blood flow there, let that spine be mobilised a little bit. Let's try that on the other side. So make sure you've got enough band. Set yourself up in the perfect position. So always different on the two sides. Be absolutely square box. Just release the pressure through that hand, release the elbow, lift the arm up, place it back down. Noticing for yourself, where are you trying to adjust? I can feel myself. My hips want to swing over to that side. I'm exaggerating it. But when I put my hand down, I'm adjusting back again. So try not to change, try not to move. You're going to absolutely apply more pressure to that supporting side. One more, just lift up. Holding it here, keep everything in the right position. Take hold of the band. A little bit further away, so there's a bit of slack to play with. So from the floor, when I'm touching the floor with my fingertips, there's a slack, and then I'm just taking that slack out. Find the same level of tension you had on the other side. Holding that there. Keep those shoulder blades drawing down. Keep the back of the head and neck lifted. Breathing. I'm going to release the opposite leg. Straight leg, toes touching the floor to start with, and then lift to the height of the body. Let's lift and lower. Arm and leg 3 times. No change anywhere else. Now keep the leg still. Lift and lower the arm on its own. Couple more. And we're there. And stretching back. Woo. Twiddling fingertips, circling the wrists. Okay, so we're going to line our backs. We're going to take the 100. So 100, you're breathing in for 5, breathing out for 5 for a set of, or 20 times you're doing that. We're going to pulse the arms. We're going to use the resistance of the band and add some legs, some footwork going on. It's all going on for this one. So I'd like it, again, where you position the band is really important. Roughly in the middle, nice and flat. Take it across your shins, keep it flat, same way you did across your thighs earlier. Cross it underneath, and you're just going to make a soft fist again. Band is wrapped over your thumbs. Make a soft fist, and you're lying down on your back. And bringing the legs up into tabletop. Have a reasonable, so I've got my feet together, my knees are slightly apart. I want you to take a reasonable stretch out here, so that you've got to sort of push your the back of your fist into the floor. I'm opening up my shoulder tips a little bit, and where we've done quite a lot of work already, my backs of my arms are quivering a little bit, which is quite nice. So from here, let's just hold those. In fact, let's do this movement first. Let's take the legs apart, taking the feet and the knees apart, opening and closing, keeping those arms pushing down into the floor. Back of head and neck is long, tuck your chin in. So in tabletop position, a nice neutral spine. And then from here, keep those legs, bring the legs completely together, straighten the legs and lower. So keep your thighs still. Again, if you've got bare legs, this might not be a great exercise for today. That band is rolling up. That's not going to work very well either. So there's a nice resistance as I'm straightening those legs, keeping the feet pointed. Okay, hopefully band is still in place. If not, readjust it. So for the 100, keep it exactly the same, just don't make a fist. Just have your thumbs underneath the band and push your thumb against your forefinger, and then we're going to have nice flat palms for the 100. So you could either work the 100 here. So we're going to come up and clear the shoulder blades. You're pulsing, you need quite a bit of tension in the band. So I'm going to go closer in. I'm pulsing my arms down and maybe out a little bit, just because I've crossed over the band, and that feels nice. Trying to keep the legs still. My legs shouldn't be moving at the same time. obviously trying to keep the upper body nice and still. So that's the lower level version of this. The head and shoulders are going to be up. You're going to take your breathing. If you can, I'd like you to try with straight legs, angle the legs away a little bit. We're going to move the feet, so just rest your head down for a moment to have a little look. We're going to move the feet and the legs as we're doing each breath in or breath out. So you're starting with straight legs, pointed feet. You're going to flex the feet, turn the legs out, point the feet, bring the legs back to parallel. So that's four sets of breathing in or breathing out as we go. We'll maybe do the first couple without adding any of that on. So, and if you're here with the legs bent, just focus on here. You could maybe flex the feet for one set, point the feet for the next set. Take that action. So there's something going on for everyone. So let's take our perfect 100 position, so which is clearing the shoulder blades but remaining in a neutral spine. I'm going to straighten a neutral pelvis. I'm going to straighten my legs, and here we go. Let's take a couple of sets for a warm up. So we've got breath in 2, 3, 4, 5 and out 2, 3, 4, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5 and out. 20. In 2, 3, 4, 5 and out 2, 3, 4, 30. Flex 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn out 40. Point and parallel 60. Pointing, parallel, flex. One more set. I think we've gone past 100. That's quite a lot to think about there. And relax. Well done. Let that head roll from side to side. Brilliant. Okay, how are we doing for time? We have got 5 or so minutes left. Brilliant. Okay, let's go side lying. This is quite complicated it's not hugely complicated, a little bit complicated in the setup. So bear with me. So I'm going to use I'm going to lie on my side. I'm going to use the length of the yoga mat. The leg that I'm going to work and put in the band is my top leg. So it's my right leg, because I'm going to lie on my left side. So I'm going to put, yeah, that's right. I'm going to put my right foot in the middle of the band. I'm going to take, so I've just got my foot there. I'm going to take both ends of the band. This is right, yeah. Take both ends of the band and take it underneath my other knee, so underneath my left knee. I'm going to secure these edges of the band, probably right up here, against my thigh, my left thigh, when I lie down on this side. So this foot is there, that leg is over the top. I'm going to lie on my side here. So make sure both ends of the band are in place. I'm going to lie right on it on my hip. Before you lie down completely, just check. So this is the working leg. I want you to be able to straighten that leg with quite a lot of resistance, so that's good. But then I also want you to be able to keep it straight and lift and lower. Now if that's too strong, release some of this band that you're lying under. If it feels okay, or it might be too slack. If it's too slack and you're, then this end of the band is like, so if you're there and there's nothing really happening, you might as well not use the band. Then you've got to bring this up higher. So find where you want to work. It's strong on the buttocks and the glutes. Okay, so the underneath leg is just bent and relaxed. The foot's out the way. Top foot is securely in the band. It's all nice and flat. It's not wrapped up or anything. And then I'm going to lie down on my side. So my hips are stacked. My shoulders are stacked. The movement is simply to draw this knee in and then push away. When I push that leg away, the foot is really flat. This leg is in my beautiful straight line, and then I'm drawing the knee in and flexing, pushing away. It might not feel too strong just yet. but it will get stronger. So there should be a reasonable amount of tension as you straighten that leg. Make sure you get it to fully straight. So this will be, you'll be starting to feel this in the same place you did with the crab steps and the squats when we were standing. Okay, that's feeling quite strong. I also felt this on the lunges in the warm-up as well. So keeping this leg nice and straight, keeping the foot flexed and the leg parallel, so no turning out, keeping the hips stacked. I'm going to lift and lower. Yeah. I really want my hips to stay level. It's very tempting to let that waist drop, the pelvis go with the leg, lifting and lowering. Oh yes, that's really feeling the love now in this one. Ooh. Okay, that's enough. Oh, I'm going to lie on my back, ignore the band for the moment. I'm just going to stretch that side out a moment, or just let that cramp ease off a bit. So taking the ankle across the knee, letting the legs just roll from side to side for the moment. Maybe bringing that knee in and out is enough. Okay, good job. All on the other side. So let's set up. Easiest way is to set up sitting upright. Pop your other foot in the band. Make sure it's nice and flat and the tops of your toes are just poking out the end. Both ends of the band, both legs bent, take that underneath that other knee, and this is the bit that you're going to lie on the other hip. Over to the side, just find before you completely lie down, find that level, roughly same level of tension. So in order to straighten the leg, it should be quite hard work, and then when we lift and lower, it's going to be really quite strong. Lying down in a beautiful straight line, hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. We're drawing the knee in, so you get quite a little slack in the band at that point. In fact, it doesn't feel quite as tight on this side. Make sure you're lying on both ends of the band as well, so don't let one end ping away. Drawing in, straighten that leg, drawing in. Keeping the hips still, keeping the lower back in its proper shape, rib cage connected and drawn down. Trying to relax that underneath leg. Drawing the shoulder down, keeping the neck long. Okay, I'm going to keep that leg really nice and straight. Looking down as if I was standing on this leg, standing upright on this leg. Oh, lifting and lowering. Ooh. Hips, pelvis. Stay still. No tipping, no tilting, no cheating. Use your muscles. And again, we're getting the resistance all the way up and all the way down. Just by having that leg straight with that tension in the band, you're making your muscles work. Oh, okay. I think it's enough. Good job. I'm going to roll onto my back. Take the band away for the moment. Just putting that foot across my knee is already quite strong. Breathe, let your hips roll from side to side. Maybe just let that knee, thigh roll in and out. great job. Okay, we're going to take 3-way hip stretches. And I think I'm going to need a reasonable amount of space. I think I'm going to put my head this way so that you can see my legs as you're looking at the screen. I think that will work. Yeah, put the mat this way as well. And then we can also do the same leg together. So I'm not trying to be opposite you. So I'm just lying down on my back. Doesn't matter if you can't quite see my head. Yeah, okay, anyway. So let's take my first leg that I did, that last exercise was my right leg. So I'm going to stretch that first. Again, I'm going to place it in the middle of the band. Other leg is bent. Nice and flat. All my toes are in the band. I'm going to cross the ends over. Holding quite close up towards my foot with a nice straight leg. I'm going to bring my elbows, in fact not too high up, I'm going to bring my elbows down and leave them glued to the floor with my hands above my elbows. And then the initial movement is just going to be a lift, ooh, and a lower. And the lifting, the lowering doesn't do anything, but the lifting, I'm just feeling a good old stretch in my hamstrings. Keeping my hands still. If you let your arms go with it, you might as well not have the band there. Keep the hands, the arms still. Use the stretch in the band. So that's getting a little bit easy. I'm going to hold my leg up to the ceiling. My hamstrings are feeling quite sore and tight today. I'm going to straighten my other leg out along the floor. That immediately gives me a bit more of a stretch. I'm going to circle the foot at the ankle. Keeping the leg straight. And then I'm going to hold on to both ends of the band with both hands. I'm going to move my hands much closer to the foot. I'm going to ease that leg in towards me. Really flexing the foot, pushing the heel up, and this time I'm going to point my foot and stretch and point and stretch, and then ease it in a little bit more. And breathing, maybe taking some small circles. Excellent. Okay, so I've got my right foot in the band. I'm going to take both ends of the band in my left hand, so the opposite hand, doesn't matter if you're on the other side. I'm going to take this leg across my body. I'm going to put this elbow down onto the floor, keeping this position, elbow and the hand above the elbow, and stretching all the way across. I'm keeping my hand up above my elbow, so I've got this right angle here. This is my bracket. And I'm just letting the leg actually be really quite relaxed and letting it bounce with the stretch of the band. And I'm opening out my other arm, and I'm going to turn my head in the opposite direction. And just gently allow that stretch to ease off. I'm moving my foot around a little bit each time. The stretch is getting a little bit easier. Okay, same leg, last stretch. Taking both ends of the band in the same side as the leg. Taking the other leg out to the side, away from your midline a little bit. Taking that elbow down into the floor again, holding the hand above the elbow, and now I'm stretching the inside thigh and groin. This leg, the other leg being out to the side, will just counterbalance. Try not to let your hips follow that leg. Try and keep your hips nice and square. And again, wiggle the foot around.
Ease the movement, keep the hand, the arms still. It's strong work on the arms. Well done. All of that on the other side. So you can just lift that leg up, open up the band, put the other foot in there, nice and flat. Cross the ends over for the first exercise. Put your other foot flat on the floor. Elbows are down, that leg is nice and straight. You're lowering it towards the floor. You're lifting it, easing it up. Stretching the hamstrings when you get to the top. Trying not to let your lower back, your pelvis tuck under. See if you can remain in a neutral pelvis. So if you remain in neutral, which I am now, I'm feeling the stretch already there. If I let my lower back collapse, I can bring that leg in much more, but nowhere near as effective. Keeping the hands still. Keeping the arms still, glued to the floor. Now I've straightened out that other leg, and I'm just going to stretch take my hands a little bit closer to the foot, so more tension in the band. And now my goal is just to ease the leg in, stretching those hamstrings, back of the thighs, and I'm going to add some circles at the ankle, stretching in even more, pointing and flexing, feeling the stretch through the calf, through the back of the knee, finishing off with a whole leg circle. Mobilising that hip joint. Small circles, tennis ball size circles at the most. Great. Both ends of the band together. Take the opposite hand. Take the elbow into the floor. Keep the hand above the elbow. Keep the arms still. Let that leg just roll across. Let it bounce. I'm not holding my leg there, I'm just letting the band help with the stretch. Turning my head in the opposite direction, opening up that other arm, and moving foot around. Breathing. And then back to the centre. Open out the other leg away from your centre. Take that same hand as the foot. Oh, stretch out to the other side. It's a bit tight on this side for some reason. Elbows down, hand is above your fist. And holding that there. Circling around. Moving the foot, trying to keep the pelvis level, and coming back to the centre, taking that nasty band away, rolling over onto your side. Oh, I've gone over a little bit longer than I wanted to there, but I think it's worth doing those lovely stretches at the end with the band. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for joining me.